Barack Obama goes into Thanksgiving Day running his mouth, but that's nothing new. Pennsylvania has blocked the count for now, so we'll see what happens with their latest hearing that they just had yesterday. Phil Scott in Vermont decides that he wants the schools to question people, and a debate breaks out about that. We'll talk about that. And we'll be taking your calls at the end of the show here because I want to hear what it is that you guys are thankful for. Buckle up because I bet we're going to hear some crazy stuff, and I've already got people in the waiting room. I'm Jay Edgar, and this is Contemporary. Good morning, folks, and welcome to Contemporary. My name is Jay Edgar. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Hope you are having a great time. Hope you are defying your governor's orders, whatever state you're in, and going and spending time with your family and the people that you love, if your family is nowhere close to you. And that is the case for some of you guys, and I'm sorry to hear that for you guys. My name is Jay Edgar. We've got just a little bit of news to get to today, and we're going to fly through it because I want to take your calls. I want to hear what you guys have to say. We have a phone number for Contemporary and the call-in shows now, by the way. I set that up. Elaine tested it out. We can hear it great. Everything goes good on there. So we'll either take calls through the Discord. It looks like I've got Anna Voltis in there waiting already, or we'll take calls over the phone. So once we get through the news here, we will pull that number up. We'll get it up on the screen. Please be respectful to your fellow callers and don't spam the number to try and get in. If you don't get in right away, we will take you one at a time, probably go 3 to 5 minutes per call as we go, and we'll hear what you're thankful for. But before we get into anything else, head on over to freedomscoop.com. Freedomscoop.com is going to be your one-stop shop for all of your news and commentary needs. And we carry great shows such as the Daily Ignoramus, Contemporary, The Breakdown with Birkenhoff, The R-Rated Conservative, and The Freckles and Brit Show, and The Generational Gap too, by the way. Coming over there, pick up some of our swag, help us support great creators, and come and check out some of the great shows that we feature. All right, getting into the news to start off with. Starting with the New York Post today, Barack Obama attacks Hispanic voters for supporting Trump. This is from Emily Jacobs. Former President Barack Obama took a dig at Hispanic voters who voted for President Trump, saying they looked past his inflammatory rhetoric and immigration policies because they were aligned on social issues. The 44th Commander-in-Chief made the remarks during a wide-ranging interview with the Breakfast Club radio program Wednesday. It's always the fucking Breakfast Club. Why wouldn't it be anybody else? That dude can pull some of the most incriminating stuff out of the worst people in the world. Have you noticed that? Charlemagne the God. He can just get people to say stupid shit. While discussing what he hoped Democrats would take away from part one of his memoir, A Promised Land, because he's got another memoir. One day, Barack Obama's going to write a memoir of the time that he wrote a memoir. Those of us who live in D.C. or New York or L.A., Obama urged, sometimes lack a good enough sense of how big this country is and how a lot of folks do not accept at all policies that people living in a larger metropolitan area that they take for granted because, they should take for granted the fact that, they live in that urban area and they can listen to the echo chamber and think that I'm the greatest president in the world. And that's a privilege above anything else, don't you know? The former president turned to the topic of Hispanics who voted for Trump as an example. People who were surprised about a lot of Hispanic folks who voted for Trump. But there's a lot of evangelical Hispanics who, the fact that Trump says racist things about Mexicans or puts detainees, undocumented workers in cages, the cages that I built, by the way, and I think that's less than important than the fact that he supports their views on gay marriage or abortion. He explained. President-elect Joe Biden lost the state of Florida to Trump, whose performance with Hispanics in Miami-Dade County carried him to victory in the Sunshine State. Hispanic voters in the county unseated Representative Donna Shalala of Florida. Trump also performed extremely well, among Latino voters in Texas's Rio Grande Valley. Still, Biden carried the Latino vote handily in Arizona, Nevada, and Pennsylvania. So there you have it. Well, these Mexicans, they're rapists or racist because they voted for Trump and they're voting against their best interest. And everybody who isn't the evil white Christian male should be voting for me, Barack Obama. Because that's going to be what we're going to get out of the next 4 years of the White House is me, Barack Obama. I'm going to be pulling the strings, don't you know? All right, so there is that. Thank you, Barack, for that. Let's keep going. From the Hill, Manhattan DA appeals dismissal of Manafort charges to New York High Court. From Naomi Jagoda. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office on Wednesday announced that it is appealing to New York's highest court a ruling dismissing charges against Paul Manafort, the former chairman of President Trump's 2016 campaign. Manafort was charged in New York State Court in March of 2019 with a residential mortgage fraud and related offenses. Nothing to do with Russia, but hey, they got to make an example out of him anyway. In December of 2019, a state judge threw out the charges, ruling they overlapped with bank fraud charges that Manafort had faced in federal court. A New York appeals court affirmed the judge's ruling last month. The DA's office is now appealing the matter to the top court in the state, the New York Court of Appeals, according to the court filing dated on Tuesday. The move to appeal the dismissal of the charges comes as Trump is set to leave office in January and could potentially issue a number of pardons before his term ends. So they want to nail this guy to the fucking wall, whether or not he gets pardoned, is basically what this is coming down to. This is about making an example of a person, not necessarily getting justice. So, we will see what happens with that. Let's keep going. From CNN. In a 5-4 ruling, the Supreme Court sides with religious groups in a dispute over COVID-19 restrictions in New York. All huzzahs are in order, all glory. The religious people can go back and worship. They missed an entire summer of it, but they can go back and do that now. Let's see what CNN has to say. From Ariana DeVoe. In a 5-4 ruling, the U.S. Supreme Court sided with religious organizations in a dispute over COVID-19 restrictions put in place by New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, limiting the number of people attending religious services. The case is the latest, pitting religious groups against city and state officials seeking to stop the spread of COVID-19, and its highlights the impact of Justice Amy Coney Barrett on the court. The religious person, they're going to go point the fingers right at this. We're doing whatever we can to keep you safe and make sure that you're worshiping the state instead of religion, because you're supposed to be worshiping the state because we're the state and we tell you to, and that evil Amy Coney Barrett is going to be the one that stops you from worshiping the true God, which is the state. In the late-night decision, Barrett sided with her conservative colleagues in the dispute, while Chief Justice John Roberts joined the 3 liberal justices, like he always does, in dissent. The ruling underscores Barrett's impact on the bench, reflecting the court's rightward shift. Last spring and summer, before the death of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the court split 5-4 on similar cases out of California and Nevada, with Roberts and the liberals in the majority siding against the houses of worship. Barrett was confirmed in October to take Ginsburg's seat. So, if you are in New York, you can go to church. And I suggest that you do so, because it will be only a matter of time if President-elect Kamala gets into office before you are worshiping the state. The state will be your only God. That may be a bit hyperbolic, but it's definitely a possibility. These people love to be worshipped. Next one here from Pennsylvania, out of Fox News. I've got autoplay. Let's get rid of that. From Ron Blitzer. Pennsylvania judge halts election certification amid mail-in vote fight. A Pennsylvania state court issued an injunction Wednesday blocking any potential further certification of election results in the state, pending a hearing to be held on Friday. The order from Judge Patricia McCullough comes in the case brought by Pennsylvania voters, including Representative Mike Kelly, in which they allege that a state law allowing for no-excuse absentee voting violated the Pennsylvania Constitution, which outlines specific cases where absentee voting is allowed. To the extent that there remains any further action to perfect the certification of the results of the 2020 general election for the office of the President and Vice President of the United States, respondents are preliminarily enjoined from doing so, pending any evidentiary hearing, McCullough wrote. So, I caught a little bit of that hearing. I didn't get to hear the entirety. I didn't realize it was going on until about 2 hours into it, but I guess Giuliani got something done because the judge in Pennsylvania says, nope, stop counting. We need to get to the fucking bottom of this. As of right now, it doesn't matter to me who wins because the Donald is going to spend us into oblivion. And Joe is going to tax us into oblivion. Donald's going to take your bump stocks. Joe's going to take your guns. We're kind of on a losing end either way here. But if we can get to the bottom of some of this stuff, get more court challenges out there, and more challengers out there, we could see more presidents from the people, by the people. That is my ultimate goal right now, is to see a lot more of the people, by the people. A lot fewer of these lifelong politicians going up and ascending straight into the presidency, like 47 years in government, Joe Biden. And a lot more people coming. You know, what would be the worst thing in the world if we had a factory worker that ascended to the presidency? That knows what the people need in the middle of the country. Except for the fact that the coastal elites would cry fucking foul because, well, he's not going to bow and cater to us. What would be the worst thing, though? If we sent one of our own up there. Instead of some poli-sci major from UC Berkeley that went straight into interning in a senator's office and went straight from that to being a senator. I don't see that as a bad thing. All right. Let's keep going here. I got just a couple more here, and then we will take calls. From CNN, Trump announces pardon for Michael Flynn in a tweet, and Twitter was suddenly filled, as soon as this happened, was completely filled with legal experts on everybody that seem to know everything on the ins and outs of the Fifth Amendment. I haven't even read into this. I don't even know what's going on with this. But apparently, because Trump pardoned Flynn, that means he doesn't get any Fifth Amendment protections, and they will railroad him. And they will put him back into prison for whatever thing that they can do after they get all the information out of him, that they can put President Trump in prison for the high crime of running and winning against the establishment. Let's keep going. Trump announces pardon for Michael Flynn. This is from Caitlin Polans, Caitlin Collins, and Megan Vasquez. President Trump announced in a tweet Wednesday that he has granted his first national security advisor, Michael Flynn, a full pardon, wiping away the guilty plea of the intelligence official, lobbyist, and conservative fringe darling for lying to the FBI. He's a fringe darling because CNN doesn't fucking like him. This is not unbiased reporting by any means. CNN is trying to sell you a narrative. And I mentioned to Kristen Boymom over on Twitter right before we went live, talking about, what the fuck was she talking about? I think it was something about Kamala stepping down. But I pointed out the fact that at this point, when we're looking at all this, at this point, this is a reality show. That's all that this is. And when we get done with it, we'll either go on to Biden, the 5th season, or continuing on The Federal Apprentice. But either way, this is all for ratings. And Jen the Libertarian pointed this out too. Jen the Libertarian has had a severe case of TDS from the end of it, but she gets some wood on the ball every once in a while. And pointed out correctly that all these people out here that are covering politics right now, a lot of them are not going to make it without having a Trump presidency to back them up. There are people who've made their careers on talking about the Trump presidency. You're going to see a lot of political podcasts fall because there's not going to be anything spicy to talk about. I do hope that mine keeps going. But there's not going to be a lot that's going to be spicy to talk about. But what we're watching right now is a reality show. That's what we are watching. And that's what we're seeing out of CNN. They're trying to feed you the narrative of what they want you to believe. So you go back to CNN and rage click and read the stories and watch the advertisements and get back in. But as of right now, Flynn is pardoned. We will see what it is that the Justice Department and all the lower courts do with this. but he's a free man after he got railroaded by a government. All right, two more. Libertarian Redhead tweeted out, Lucas, repeat after me. You cannot question me without my mother present. That is our wonderful co-host Elaine over here from the Red Ned Show, talking about this tweet here. And I just want to point this one out before we get into the article. Thomas Dickerson tweets back, the headline isn't really accurate. They're making families answer questions before going back to in-person learning, and it's per school district. To which I pointed out, it's still the government questioning people no matter what. And we know that the government never misuses the information that it gathers. Ever. The government would never, ever misuse information. Ever. They would never do a thing like that. All right. So, from the Washington Times, Republican Governor Phil Scott says Vermont schools will question kids about Thanksgiving plans. It's a little bit clickbaity, but it gets the idea across anyway. Vermont Governor Phil Scott said Tuesday that school officials will question returning students about whether they attended gatherings with people outside their household during Thanksgiving to determine if they need to quarantine over coronavirus concerns. Unfortunately, we know some will still get together and schools have asked for help, the Republican governor tweeted on Tuesday. The Vermont Agency of Education will direct schools to ask students or parents if they were part of a multifamily gathering, and if the answer is yes, then they'll need to go remote for 14 days or 7 days and a test. Maybe you just aren't worried about getting the virus, he wrote. You're young, healthy, you can work remotely, or you just don't think it's a big deal. But you never know if you're going to be the domino that leads to a nursing home outbreak or pushes an entire school to remote learning. Blah, 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 blah. It's still the government questioning people without a parent or a legal representative present. And it's a no-go. Boop. Fuck off. All right. Good news. And then we'll get into calls. From News for San Antonio, out of Texas. Austin baby born at 24 weeks heads home in time for Thanksgiving. Huzzahs are in order. But of course, at 24 weeks, it's just a clump of cells anyway. Or at least that's what they'll try to tell you on Twitter. But huzzahs are in order. The baby is healthy and it can go home. Look at the little thing too. That's somebody's hand and that's the little baby. And it survived. Huzzahs are fully in order. Let's read. A Central Texas family is counting their blessings. Their extremely premature baby is home from the hospital just in time for Thanksgiving. Kinsley Allen was born in early August at just 24 weeks. Her mom, Tiffany, went to the hospital with severe headache, but ended up staying for days. I didn't even pack any clothes or anything. I just thought they were going to give me some medicine and send me on my way, Allen says. Doctors determined both mom and baby's lives were in danger, and Kinsley needed to be delivered much sooner than expected. We just prayed, and I asked everyone I knew to pray, and she came out screaming and made her presence known, says Daryl Allen, Kinsley's dad. Yeah, it's amazing. Even at 24 weeks, she will make her presence known. Those babies, they love for you to know that they're there. He recalls the stress of his daughter being born so premature while his wife struggled to recover, both in separate rooms at the hospital. I felt like I was being pulled in opposite directions, he says. When Kinsley was born, she weighed about 1 pound and 4 ounces. The TikTok video of Tiffany and Kinsley together stunned the couple after it got 40 million views. But remember, it's just a clump of cells. And that's amazing for these parents that they, after everything, got to bring their little baby home. The great huzzahs are in order. All right. That's it. That's all the news that I have for the day. What did we get through that? 17 minutes? Not even? So, with that in mind, we're going to switch up the scene, head on over here and get some calls in. I've got one person that I know of waiting in the waiting room over on the Discord, so let's get the scene switched up. And as I said at the top of the show, be respectful to your fellow callers and let them get through. Don't blow up the phone line. If you want to come in on the phone line side, don't blow that up while we're going. Otherwise, I'll take it away. But we are taking calls for the rest of the show until we get done But the first thing before we take any phone calls with this is going to be we will be taking one from Anna Voltis over on the Discord side. So let's hear what Anna Voltis has to say. Anna Voltis, you're on the air. And a happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Thanks for bearing with us while we got through the news for the day. Yeah, that was incredible to see. I was so happy about that too. I was so happy I got to end off on that too because I thought I was going to be talking politics for the entirety of the show. And nobody wants that. Not on Thanksgiving.
Tradition to have.
You think it's a good tradition when I have a caller on, I should turn the desktop audio so the audience can hear him. Steven just pointed that out. Thank you, Steven, for that. I got that
Oh,
fixed though,
okay.
so you're all set.
Yeah, as I was saying, I think that Thanksgiving is a good tradition to have, to always be able to count your blessings, to see what's going good in life. Because many times, especially this year, things can be bad. But for most people, things could be a lot worse.
Yeah, they could. I mean, I've seen some of the bottom end of it, like knowing when I didn't know where my next meal was going to be coming from. And I'm so thankful to myself right now that I was able to get out of that situation, get into a better situation, a better job, and something that I know isn't going to go away if the economy crashes. Like I couldn't be certain of that when I was living where I was living before. So, what are you thankful for today?
Well, because today my family is actually going to be celebrating Thanksgiving on Saturday because we can't all be at home today because some of us are working. But instead, today I'm joining Wyatt Birkenhoff on a show about vaccines. So, in that context, I think I'm going to be thankful for the medical professionals and those working in the pharmaceutical industry that are working hard to try to save lives.
That's what's your take on vaccines, by the way? Because I know that's a little bit of a hot topic between some of my audience too. Some of them don't believe in them. I don't plan on taking the vaccine that's coming out right now. Not at all.
Well, well, I think they can be a mixed bag. Obviously, there's no 100% safe medical procedure. I think that in many cases, vaccines can be effective and have been effective. However, for example, with the flu vaccine, it depends year on year. Some years it's as low as 10% effective, some years it's 60%. In this case, I actually know someone that works at the company that is developing the most prominent candidate for the coronavirus vaccine. And judging from my knowledge of it, it's a messenger RNA vaccine, so there's no attenuated serum. So that certainly is a reduced risk. Now, I don't know what the preservatives are that they would use for it. And I know that a lot of people don't like the preservatives that are used in them. For example, mercury, which if you take a lot of it, it can bioaccumulate. Um, but I don't know what the what the preservatives are. But I think that the ones that should probably be the first to take it are probably the ones who are at risk, really. But I'm not in favor of compulsory vaccination. I think it people should take responsibility for their own healthcare plans.
And that is going to be something we're going to see a lot of is the compulsory side of it because people want to control what they do. And I've seen a lot of that with this particular pandemic as so it's called is that a lot of it seems to be more based on control than the public health.
Yes, there's a lot of problems with people in the government taking a lot of control. I'm not against the idea of people doing something in principle, but I think that if people are going to do something, it should be on a much more local level where they can be more easily held accountable by the community and where responses are more measured in relation to the actual events that are happening.
Good enough. Well, I'm going to let you on out of here so I can see if we can take other calls either in the Discord side or over on the phone side. I've got a phone number set up for everyone as well. You got any last thoughts before we send you out of here?
Well, I'd like to use this opportunity to plug the stream that I and Birkenhoff will be doing at 11 a.m. Eastern today, where we will be talking about the vaccines in greater detail with a doctor present as well.
Perfect. Make sure you check that out. I'm sure Wyatt will put that up in this Discord. So if you want to check that out, do that, or check it out over on their channel, or back on demand over on freedomscoop.com.
Okay. Thank you for having me on.
Take care. All right. That was Anna Voltis. The phone lines are open at this point here. I don't have anybody sitting back and waiting. While we're looking back and checking that out, let's check in with some of the live chat here, see what you guys are doing. That is, if you're just listening back on this one here, going to be 608-561-2046 is going to be the call-in number. So head on in here and we'll take that call. Let's see. Let's get some live chat up here for you guys because you guys have been going for a while. Ron Helton's got the Greta Thunberg sticker up there. How dare you? How dare you? Elephant Man's got the rocket. That's kind of cool. Oh, it's a ninja on a rocket. It's a D-Life thing. I like that. Ron Helton says, Happy Go Stuff Yourself Day. Elephant Man says, yeah, working now. Going to be here until dinner. Then it's on. Awesome. When's dinner for you over there, Elephant Man? Ron says, invited to dinner at 3:30. I will be eating a light snack until then. Nice. I had cinnamon rolls. I had carbs so that when I'm sitting down to dinner eating stuffing and mashed potatoes, my heart doesn't explode because I haven't eaten carbs in 6 months. So that'll be fun. Ron says, I'm thankful for all the thoughtful East. Just confirms that this country is in dire trouble, needs an enema. Okay, that's awesome. Elephant Man says he is relatable and has no shame or filter. Must be talking about Obama. Yep, I've got no filter unless, of course, I'm sitting here reading from the teleprompter and the teleprompter is my filter, and it tells me what to say. It tells me to say good things like you didn't build that. The government built that for you. Ron Helton says Obama deported more illegals than Trump. That is a fact. He is such a shill for himself. Yeah, and he built the cages too, by the way, just so everybody knows. Yeah, and then he says, yeah, and he built the cages that the loony left complained about. That is a fact. Yeah, that is. But nobody will take care of that. Nobody will talk about that. They'll just talk about the fact that he was in there and they found the cages while Trump was in office and mysteriously ignored them. And then the whole Wayfair thing that came out of that too. That was so weird. Elephant Man says, I've been telling people don't automatically assume Hispanics will vote as a bloc. Ron Helton says the loon's like Obama because he uses nice, flowery, vacuous word while drone killing Americans and brown people. Yeah. Hispanic and Latino are made up bullsh. Don't know what you mean by that, Elephant Man. I'm sorry. Steven Ignoramus is in here. Morning, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. Let's see if Steven will come in and call. I'll call his show if he calls mine because I know he's going to do a call-in show in a little bit too. Ron Helton says, morning, Steven. Trying to categorize people as voting blocs has never worked. It's just racist. That's the Democrats. Yeah, they do seem to be very, very concerned about race, don't they? Elephant Man says they think of themselves in the same way as Europeans do. Panamanian, Honduran. Spanish, English, French, Portuguese. Ron says, anyone watch the 3-hour hearing in Pennsylvania over the election? Oh, we got ourselves a Stephen Ignoramus. So we will mark that spot in here and we'll bring Stephen in. You are on the air.
Oh my goodness, there's two of you. Hi, let me turn you off. Hello. Hey, happy Thanksgiving.
You too. Getting ready for
I'd
your call-in show too?
Yeah, I'm gonna do some calls. I think a little bit later. I don't really have anything to do today. I'm not doing any. I'm not gonna be like seeing anybody. So I might stream for a really long time. So I'm not sure. It's pretty interesting what Anna Voltis and Wyatt are doing because I'm doing something completely different. So I don't know. I'm not really calling in to plug it or whatever, but that's just very interesting that we're doing. They're doing the vaccine thing right then, and what I'm doing is a segment on the founding fathers and basically their writings on God and Christ, and what their standards for religion with politicians were at the time, and around the time of the first Thanksgiving proclamation. I don't know if you know what the original Thanksgiving was. Do you know this?
I know the flowery version that they taught us in public school.
Oh, well, I mean, the original Thanksgiving was December 18th.
Okay.
And it bounced around a little bit, and they landed on the fourth Thursday in November, obviously. But I'm just going through a bunch of in this report that I was given through some kind of means that I'll talk about on the air about this subject. And I don't know, there's just a bunch of interesting things and some Bible verses and stuff like that. And yeah, that's what I'm doing with my stream, but it's definitely not about vaccines. So you got to, the crowd has to make their choice. You know, if you listen to Anna Voltis and Wyatt, it's going to be scientific and smart, and mine will be, historical.
And narrated by an ignoramus.
Yeah, that's right. One day I'll change my name. It'll be on my deathbed probably. What was I gonna? Oh yeah, I'm fasting today. I thought that was an interesting thing to talk about on Thanksgiving. Is I'm not doing any dinner plans, so I'm actually not going to eat at all.
I've done that here and there before. It's really hard when you're doing a very athletic job. I can tell you that.
Is yours a very athletic job?
Yes. I sent you
really?
the one picture of some of the stuff that I have to lift up after you listened to that song that I had you play on the air and then told me to go and lift something heavy.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
I lift those every day, so.
I think mine qualifies as sedentary, like completely sedentary.
Well, it depends on how much you're getting into it.
Into my teaching, I just sit there and I tell kids to play different notes and go a little slower. That's basically the extent of my job. But if I did like jumping jacks or something like that,
pull out the lead and start shredding with them.
Yeah, that's right. Do you have plans for dinner? Like, what are you doing?
I am actually, as soon as my stream is done, I'm going to get in the truck and I'm going to head up to my mom and dad's. My sister's making dinner.
Oh, cool.
So,
nice.
Yeah, I'll be heading up there in 4 hours in the truck.
Nice. Well, I wish it was 12 with me on guitar, if you know what I mean, Jagger.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, we'll do it one day, all right?
All right.
Cool, man. Well, I don't know. I just hope everyone in the chat has a good Thanksgiving, and you as well, and God bless.
You too. Take care.
All right. Take care.
All right, that was Stephen Ignoramus. We'll be checking his stream out. I'll probably be listening to that on and off throughout the day, and I might call in over there as well from the road. A nice call from the road. I'll see what the details are to go along with that. So, that is that. Let's catch back up with the chat here. Remember, you can either get in and call in the Discord that is linked in the description below, or the number that is up on your screen. Yeah, that's a real number, by the way. So call that number up. We will bring you in through the sound card here. It's my first landline, I think, ever as a grown-up. We had one, obviously, when I was growing up as a kid, but I think this is my first landline number ever. I think. Yes, it is my first landline ever. So, give her a call and pop in here, and we'll hear what you're thankful for. Ron Helton, when I was catching up, was asking, anybody watch the 3-hour hearing in Pennsylvania over the election? Judge barred certification. Legislature is upset over the fraud. And didn't I don't know what position he was in, but didn't that Dan guy that was leading it, didn't he get Twitter banned for that too. I thought he did. Maybe he didn't, but I think he's suspended. I think his senatorial account is still on, but I think he is suspended for right now. Elephant Man says there is a hold on the hold, on the hold, on the hold, on the hold, on the hold of the hold for right now, so they can appeal the ruling. Ron Helton says Pennsylvania received back more ballots, over 700,000, than they mailed out. Ballot stuffing anybody. I've heard other people say that they didn't get as many back. So, of course, being me, I've got to find all the facts and draw your own conclusions. But I've heard both sides of this. That they sent out 700,000 more than they got back. And then they got back 700,000 more than they sent out. So, I don't know what the actual truth is on that. I could see verification and justification for both sides. But I've actually got to do a deeper dive before I can make a definitive one way or another decision on that. If the legislature does not do the right thing and nullify those ballots, then I guess this ends up in the Supreme Court. State as a religion sounds familiar. Yes, that's just about every communist country that's ever existed. The state is your religion. By the way, I've never read 1984, but I believe from the accounts that I've read about 1984, that is how that went in that book too. It's on my reading list. I just, between the shows and my regular job, have no time to sit down and read anymore, which is lame because I love to read. Let's see. Ron Helton says no requirements for ID, and many of the ballots all voted the same, just for President Biden. Explanation is that those filling them out did not have enough time to fill out all the votes on the night of the election. Yeah, I caught that part. Where they were saying that they were trying to stuff as many ballots into a trash bag as they could. In such a hurry to steal the election that they screwed up and exposed themselves. Well, I know some people in this audience that have exposed themselves too, and your host might have done that at one point. But not in the same way that Pennsylvania did. Stephen Ignoramus says if Trump won, it would be so tight, though. They would be so mad. That's why I'd say it's definitely better. Just how salty the earth would flow. Ron says what we need is 95% less government to start with. Pink slips for government, that is bleeding us dry. Stephen says even though I agree with you on Trump, yeah, he's going to spend us. And he has no respect for the Second Amendment either. We all lose either way. But with Trump, we at least lose slowly. Ron says, right, Stephen. Elephant Man says the worst thing would be no balls, gets run over and shills, so he doesn't get Kennedy. Interesting. It would just be incredible. Ron says, I'm not a Trump fan, but I see that we will be in worse shape with these commie-leaning jackasses. Steven says, I would also pull an all-nighter with my 12-gauge in my lap, making coffee. Making coffee. I know it's copies, but still. I like making coffee better. Ron says if Biden gets in, they'll have a chance at passing at least some of the Green New Deal. When Obama was in there, they threw millions at Solyndra, which was just wasted. Plus, that whole going back to war thing. For all of his faults, President Trump does not want to go to war because he looks back, he looks at the bill for the wars that we're still paying for. He says, why the hell are we paying for this? Hey, no more war. No more war already. All right? No, we're done. We're done. We're not paying for any more of this. Get us out of there, okay? That's one good aspect of the Trump presidency. Why the hell are we paying for this? Stephen Ignoramus says, imagine telling our grandparents 60 years ago that you were talking politics with someone named Kristen Boymom. Yeah, that's awesome. I like that. Elephant Man says, listen, we're all libertarian leaning. Just use the black and gray markets. Cash, cash, cash. What cash? The dollar's being printed into oblivion. Elephant Man has silver coins, so if you need silver coins, you can go find a man that looks like an elephant, apparently. If you look, you can still find them, and so it begins. Some of us old timers tried to salt some of those away years ago. Not our first rodeo. I can see a bunch of lawsuits in Vermont over this. Yeah. I heard it's getting even harder to find ammo right now. Yeah. Narc on the parents. Ron Helton says, wouldn't the logical thing be to have 14 for all students right away? Actually, CDC now recommends 9 to 10 days. Virus is inactive after 9 days. That's interesting. I didn't know that. I'll have to look into that. This moves the viability argument. Yeah, 24 weeks. That is a miracle, too, by the way. That is amazing to see. I am so glad that I saw that. I'm so glad, and I'm so thankful that we get to see this today, on a day where we should be giving thanks. Nobody's going to call, huh? This is your time. Dab Cannabis 420 says, my son was preemie. Steven Ignoramus says, I wonder how much silver a week's worth of food is in Mad Max world. Market-driven prices. That's it. That's right there. Steven says, oh yeah, that was where I forgot to turn the desktop audio back on. Because, you know, I have got The Hill and I've got Fox News up there. They both love to autoplay and give you ear cancer as you go along. So I had to turn the desktop audio off, then I forgot to turn it back on. Thanks again for everybody who was patient with me off of that one. This is one of the first times I've done call-ins, but $23 per ounce is silver right now, so about 3 to 4 silver coins a week for a single person who prepares their own food. Dude, where do you live? That food's so expensive. Silver dollars. Ron says, I'll be getting the virus again over, I will take getting the virus again over a crapshoot with these vaccines. 99% survival rate for the virus. If one eats a lot of beans instead of buying lots of meat, you can live a lot longer. Probably about $2 silver a week. Grow food. 2 choice to get shot, a vax or a bullet. Thank you, Dabba. If it comes down to bullet, then it will not end well here in this country. Forced vaccine for 99% survival rate is tyrannical and unheard of. Steven says, sorry, grabbed coffee. Did you do it in your little French pressy thingy? I saw a meme about that over on Twitter. I'll see if I can find that again, because I think I know who posted it. But Steven's got a little French press. I've drank coffee out of it. It's delicious, by the way, and I kind of want one of my own at this point. But apparently that is the liberal way to make coffee, according to the meme that I saw. But of course, as libertarian as I am, as federalist as I am, according to that meme, I make coffee the conservative way in the old, well, to us now it's the old-fashioned drip percolator, but you know, obviously the old-fashioned way is going to be the old percolator. I'll see if I can find that afterwards. Actually, let me see if I can find that now. On-air production. Media. So I think this is the person who posted it. I might be wrong. Maybe I was wrong. Okay, maybe this wasn't the person that posted it. I thought it was Alicia over at the New Millennial. Let's see if it's in her tweets. Yeah, it is. Alright, let's switch this back over. We'll take the call-in number down for just a second. What your coffee preparation method says about you. And of course, you know, me with the old drip. I'm the conservative. Neocon. Neolib. Okay, so it's neolib is the way that Steven does it. Anarchist. I love that one. Libertarian. The old drip filters. That's awesome, by the way, the anarchist way. Liberal. That's the old-fashioned percolator, and centrist is the Keurig. So I guess according to how my coffee preparation method goes, I am conservative. All right, I thought that was entertaining. All right, back to the live chat here. We'll get caught up with this here, and if nobody else wants to call in, then we'll head on out of here. $3 to 4 coins per week. I see my future, the heist business. Unsatiable says, any female callers? Well, you can call. Nothing beats listening to Alex Jones rants in a truck. You know what I get sick of? I get sick of this. I hear about this all the time, you know. I hear about the globalists. The globalists, all right? The globalists are out there. They're putting chemicals in the water. Turn the freaking frogs gray. Ah! There's your Alex Jones rant right there. I'm going to tell something to my neighbors, okay? I want them to know. I hope it doesn't come to this. I got food prepared. But my neighbors, they're globalists, you know. And I need you to know something. My daughters aren't going to go hungry, okay? I will eat your ass! Alex Jones is a treasure. Why did he get banned? He is a treasure. Stephen Ignoramus says, you are correct, unsatiable. Elephant Man says, Ed is a rebel eating dinner with his family. Yeah. It's scary, the fact that that's what's become rebellion these days, but you don't do what Big Daddy Government tells you to. Dad Government, do what. Take care of me, Dad Government, okay? Ron says, I grabbed coffee, lost connection. That's all I have is a landline, no cell. Yeah, I've never had a landline before. Until 2 days ago. And it's not technically a landline either. It's Google Voice, but still. Ron got suspended on Twitter yesterday. What did you do? What did you do? And why the hell can't I get suspended on Twitter? Still, to this day. I'm shadow banned, but I'm not suspended. Why can't I get suspended? What do I need to do? Who do I need to piss off to get suspended? I called someone a cuck straight out on Twitter yesterday because he was kneeling at the feet of Joe Biden and saying that all the rest of the Democrats in the world should. And I called him a cuck for that. And I still didn't get suspended. Nice, Ron. Ron has mice. Unsatiable says, Mommy Barrett will destroy the carpet-munching Dems. Nice. Ron Helt says, if there are food shortages, then silver or gold might not even help you. I heard that millions are in danger of starving from lockdowns. Unsatiable says, the food lines are insane where I am, which I know where that is too, by the way, and I can about imagine. Elephant Man says, if Georgia Senate races go Republican, Biden could end up with no cabinet. Yeah, that's funny too, just to think about the fact of what do you do? This is probably, I think this is only like the second or third time in history. I think it might even be less than that. There's a possibility that it might be the first time in history that an incoming president went in without the Senate without controlling the Senate, essentially. And as partisan as we are, yeah, you could come out with no cabinet. Daba says, there is fraud here in Massachusetts, the pedo-LGBTQ capital of the USA. You know, I must have missed that when I lived out there. Because I don't remember that. All I remember is very, very thick accents. It just reminds me of an out. We were doing something. We were having dinner. My aunt got married in Nashville a few years ago, and when I met my new uncle, we were sitting there talking about kind of the food differences. I was in culinary school at the time, talking about the food differences between where I live and there, and he kind of made some crack about getting used to living in the South or being in the South, and I said, you know what? I understand what it's like to live in the South. I lived in Massachusetts, and he kind of looked at me side-eyed, and I said, yeah, I'm surrounded by people with thick accents that hate the Yankees. Please clap. Let's see. Ron Helton says the only president since Carter who has not started any new wars. That is a Newsweek article this week. Did Carter start any new wars? That would make him the first president in my lifetime because I was born under Reagan. Unsatiable says no cabinet Biden would be hilarious because he would be all alone with his dementia. No, he'd have Kamala to push him in the wheelchair off the cliff. Elephant Man says nothing gets done. Ron Helton says, yes, I need to buy me an old-style coffee percolator for my gas stove. Currently using a drip coffee machine if no power or gas. Fire. I've got a cold brew pot, and I will use that if I need to. Because I can drink cold coffee. Mine is the first style of coffee pot, but I have brewed some in an open pot. You animal. You animal. Anavolta says, brew coffee like tea and eat the grounds. That's a real man right there. That's a man's man right there. I love it. Unsatiable says, if it came down to it, I would happily eat my neighbors, medium rare. Elephant Man says, Alex Jones got banned because he's effective and popular. Ron Helton says, I typed Hale Brown under the comment where she suggested that people uninvite family for Go Stuff Yourself Day. Nice. Hale Brown, leader of the oppressed. I love it. The hairy chested libertarian is in here. He can't see your stuff though, but he did clap for that one. I like that. Phone lines are open if you want to call in. Otherwise, I think we're going to be heading out of here. And remember, everybody else has got streams today too, but don't want to do a lot of crossover between there. So right here at the end here, Ron Helton's going to get last word, and then I think we're going to head on out of here for the day. Ron Helton says, before I got suspended on Twitter, I took a junk food quiz. They said I could identify where you lived from the quiz. It said that I'm from New York. LOL. Yeah. Oh. That is going to be it for the day here. So I'm going to head on out of here. I'm going to go up and see my mom, my dad, my sister, my nieces, my nephew, all the fun people there. It's going to be a little bit of a drive. I might pop into the voice room over on the Discord for a little while if you guys want to hang out. We'll do that. Otherwise, I'm going to be listening to stream here. I'll see what how Steven's going to be running his stream. I'll probably call in over there, maybe catch a little bit of what's going on over on the Anna Voltis and Wyatt Birkenhoff stream as well. So we got some stuff going on with that. We got some stuff going on today. That's good. That's awesome for everybody. So we're not sitting here in a complete media bubble, but do take some time. Spend it with somebody that you love. Don't spend it alone, because that's what they want you to do. And I'm saying they in triple parentheses. That's what they want you to do, is spend it alone and miserable. Don't do that. Don't let them win. Get out there, spend some time with your family, with your loved ones. Go and hang out. You're off work today, whether you're working from home or you're out going somewhere for working. So go take that time, spend it with them. I will be back here tomorrow with more contemporary and a lot more of the news that I skipped today. And I did a lot more news than I thought I was going to, but even still, I'll be back here tomorrow with more contemporary. Come back, check that out, some more news. Obviously, for obvious reasons, there's no video game stream tonight. Go spend some time with your family. And then we will be doing across the board this weekend. I've got 3 confirmations. Looking for a 4th. I need a libertarian guy, because the 2 that I had dropped out at me. So Hey, look, the R-rated conservative popped in right at the end here. You wanna get a call in, RRC? Test out the system, test out the phone, because I've never tested that out on stream before. We'll hold it open if the RRC wants to call, because I kind of want to test this out too, and then he can leave a good message for you guys to leave out of here on. I'll see if he pops in here. The coffee thing, that's still up there. That's awesome. Wish I had some music queued up. We're going to get some bumper music coming in. What was it? Mr. Behavior gave me access to his instrumental, so I'll be checking that out. I've got one picked out for Across the Board that'll be a good bumper for that. So, yeah, it's one of the other things I'm thankful for is I've got really talented friends that can come out and get me music at a moment's notice. Help me out here and get some stuff up there on the air. Oh, it's too loud over there for him to call in. Okay, that's cool. Cooking dinner with, and my kitchen sounds like a factory. Oh, that's interesting. I like that. All right, then we're going to head on out of here for the day. We'll be back here tomorrow for more contemporary. Over the weekend for Across the Board. 3 guests confirmed. 1 more that I'm looking for. So if you know somebody, a libertarian guy to make the balance perfect, go over onto my Twitter. That is at EdsBlog Twitter with a 1 in place of the I. Throw an @ down. The hairy-chested libertarian and Fritz have both dropped. Well, Fritz is still on the bubble, so I don't have a confirmation from him yet. But if you know somebody, you want to get him in here, nominate him, throw an @ at me over on Twitter. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow for more contemporary. Until then, I'm Jay Edgar, and this is Contemporary.